Alright, good morning, grade 7 students. Now I'm going to decide to video record your lesson on the keyboard and or the keyboard slash the piano and tones and semitones. Now let's get started. Now when the first thing when you look at the keyboard or the piano, when you look at it, the first thing you see white notes and you see black notes, right? Remember, we have done the musical alphabet, and we're going to revise that because that's very crucial in learning the keyboard. Now, in the musical alphabet, we talked about having 7 letters, and those letters are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And what do we do when we get to G? You're right, we start over and we go right back to A, right? Now, that's it for the musical alphabet. Now, the musical alphabet plays a very important part in learning our keyboard. As you see, I went ahead and I labeled the notes, some of the notes. And if you'd notice, let's take C here for example. After C, in the musical alphabet, what comes after C? D, right? So we have D here. What comes after D? We have E, and it goes in that way on the keyboard. When we get to G, we said we're gonna start over, right? When we get to G, we said that we would when we get to G, we said that we would start over because it goes in a cycle like a circle on the musical alphabet. Now we're G here and we started over to A. And please notice that we're just doing the white notes. We're just labeling the white notes. So we started with A, B, C, D, E, F, and it goes to G, and it goes right back to A, right? Now, there's a very important word we use a lot when you're playing the keyboard, and this word is octave, right? Octave, Octave. You can write it down, make a note of it. Now, octave refers to a group of 8 notes. Now let's count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now from C to C would be an octave because it 8 notes from C to C. Let's check from D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From D to D would be an octave. Now what if I ask for 2 octaves? I would this from C to C. We already established that as an octave. Now if you want another octave, we would go ahead of C. We would start here and we'd go all the way up here. So we have 2 octaves labeled on the keyboard now. So we have octave 1 and we have octave number 2 here. Now, excuse me, we're gonna learn about tones and semitones, right? And I went ahead and I wrote up a piece of paper here. I have tone and semitone at the top. Then tone, what is a tone? A tone is a whole step. Just please remember this, a tone is a whole step. A semitone is half step, right? Now, I'm going to explain in detail what I mean by a tone is a whole step and a semitone is a half step, right? But for now, just remember that. Let's go ahead and learn what we mean by a tone is a whole step and a semitone is a half step. Now, from C, because remember we were talking about the alphabet and now we're at tones and semitones. Now, a tone from C going up. We're going up now, this way. We're going to the right. Now, a tone from C would be D. Why? You might ask why. Now, a tone from C, in order to get a tone or a whole step, you skip a note, which is this one, the black one here, because remember we're going this way. So we have C, the black note, then D, then a black note, then E. We have no black notes here. F, black note, G. That's the order it goes in. Now we're going from C we skip a note in order to get the whole tone, to get the whole step. So let's make a jotting of it. Now let's make a jotting of it, right? Now we skip, let me put in brackets here, skip. Now I'm gonna put in brackets, I'm gonna put in the bracket skip, so we remember that we skip a note to get the whole tone, right? Awesome. Skip. So we skip to get the whole step. Yes, so we skip to get the whole step. Now we're gonna practice some. Alright, so from C to what note? Going to the right. We're going to the right for now. So from C to what note gives you a whole step? You're correct. From C to D, because we're gonna skip this note here. From D to what note gives you a whole step? Going to the right still. You're right. From to E. So we skip this note here. Now you might be asking, what we labeled these notes, the white notes, but what about the labeling for the black notes, right? And we're gonna go through the labeling for the black notes in a while. Just let's just finish up tones and semitones, right? Now, if you're at E here, a tone, where would a tone bring me? Remember, we skip a note to get a tone, right? So from E, where would a tone? Some might say here, some might say here, but remember we have to skip a note in order to get a tone. So if we skip a note, we're gonna skip this note here, and we're gonna go to the black note. So from E to this black note that we don't know the name of it as yet, from E to this note would give us a tone, right? Hope we're on the same page. Now remember, for whole step and tones, you skip a note, right? Moving on to semitones. Alright, so for semitones you see, we have half step to remember the semitones. They're also called half step. Half steps. So let's examine, or let's explore what a half step or a semitone truly is. Now let's look at the keyboard. For the semitone, what I would use to remember the semitone, I would say the semitones are their neighbors. The notes are neighbors. Now let me show you why I say that. Now we have C here as an example, right? So we have C. What would be the semitone for C? This black note here, because they are neighbors. They're right beside each other. And why is it not C and D? Because C and D, you have to skip a note in order to get there. You skip the black note here. You notice the black note is right in the middle between the C and the D. So you'd have to skip this black note here to get to this D here. So the semitones are the half steps. They're neighbors. So C to this black note here that we don't know the name of as yet. So from C to this black note here would be a semitone or a half step. Let's look at the D. We've done D, so let's look at A, right? From A to what note from A to this black note here would give us a semitone. Why? Why do you think so? Right, that's because they're neighbors here. And again, if you notice, the black note is right between, it's in the middle of A and B, right? So they're neighbors, so they're semitones. Let's look at E and F and B and C. Remember we spoke about the octave. So in an octave, we have two semitones, right? E and F and B and C. Let me go again. In an octave here, we have two semitones, E and F and B and C. Why do you think we have just two octaves in two semitones in one octave? Now let's look at it. We have E and F, which is the first octave in the C, which is the first semitone in this octave here. We have the first semitone right? And we have the second semitone here. Now, if you notice E and F, there's no black note here. So we don't have a note to separate them, so they're already what? Neighbors, right? Now between B and C, you notice same thing, they're already neighbors. So we have them and F and B and C being semitones, right? If you notice C to D, there's a name there C to D, C to this black note, D to this black note, E to F, and we're going up. F to G, G to A to B, B to C, and C to this black note here, right? Now, let's do some quiz. Let me test your brain, right? We're gonna test your brain. So get your papers out and get your pencils and write down your answers for me. We have from 1 to 5, right? So you're gonna write your answers. Question number 1. C to D, and you're gonna answer. You're gonna write if it's a tone or it's a semitone, right? You're gonna answer if it's a tone or it's a semitone. Now let's go again. Question number 1. C to D. And I'm giving you the opportunity to record your answer, right? Question number 2. Remember, we're answering if it's tone, if it's a tone or it's a semitone. Now, this is from question number 2. F to this black note here. You're gonna write tone or semitone for number 2. F to this black note here. And that's number 2. I'm giving you a minute or so to record your answers. All right, let's go. All right, so let's look at number 3. Number 3, E to F. E to F. Record your answer, tone or semitone. And we're doing E to F. Number 4, B to E. And you're recording if it's a tone or a semitone. D to E, sorry. D to E. Alright, I think that was enough time. Alright, let's move on to the last one. A to the black note beside A. So A to the black note here. A to the black note. What is it? Is it tone or is it a semitone? Record your answer. Alright, great. Let's go through the answers. First one, B to C. That's a tone. B to C, that's a tone. Next one, F to the black note here. That's a semitone. Excuse me. Next one, E to F, that's a semitone. Next one, D to E, that's a tone. Next one, A to this black note here, that's a semitone. I hope you got all of them right. Now let's move on to the next part of our lesson, which is sharps, flats, and naturals. Now, I'm sure you've seen these signs before because we've done them in class. Now, let's look at it more in detail. Now, before okay, let's move on to sharps, right? Now, as you already know, this is a sharp sign, right? And the sharp sign is used to raise a note, right? Now, let's look at that some more. Now, we're already using C as an example, so let's look at C here on the keyboard. The sharp raises the note. Now, if the sharp raises the note, which direction do you think we're gonna go to raise C? You said left? No, we're gonna go right to raise the note, right? So we raise the note and we go up a semitone. Anybody remember what semitone means? Good, a half step. So when you're raising, when you're raising, you're lowering, you go by semitones. Now let's go again. We're going by C, and we're gonna raise, we're gonna sharpen the note, we're gonna raise the note. Remember the sharp sign here? We're gonna raise the note, right? And we, from C, we raise the note to a semitone and we get to this black note. I'm sure you already figured it out. And this black note here would be labeled C sharp. And I think you see it right here on the keyboard. Good. So it's labeled C sharp, right? Now let's pause and look at it some more. Each of these black notes, each note, we have two names for each note, right? And we're gonna look at it some more in a second. Now D, we raise D and we will get D sharp. So far we have C sharp and we have D sharp. What do you think this one gonna be? Awesome, F sharp, right? And then this one, what do you think this one will be? G sharp. Good. And then this one will be what? A sharp. Good. Now let's look at the flats. Alright, now let's look at flats. Now we've done sharps and we're gonna look at the flats right now. Alright, so a flat, the sign you see here, the flat, we use the flat to lower our note. Now remember we talked about the sharp and we use the sharp to raise the note, which is this one here. We're gonna use the flat here to lower the note. Now we're gonna go the opposite direction of what we did for the sharp, and I'm gonna explain to you more in detail. So let's take D for example, right? Remember I told you that each note here can be labeled with two names. Now let's talk about, remember we talk about this being C sharp and this one being what? D sharp, you're right. Now we're gonna talk about the second name for each of these black notes, right? It can be a sharp or it can be a flat. Both those are the names. Can be a sharp or it can be a flat. Now let's look at D. Now D, remember we're lowering the note. So we raise the note by going right and we lower the note by going left. Good. Yes, so we lower the note by going left. And remember we go via semitone, right? So from D, we go a semitone down. We give us this black note here, because remember semitones are neighbors. So from D to this black note here, what do you think the name of this black note will be? You're right, D flat. So we have this note here being C sharp, or it's called D flat. Good. Now what do you think this black note will be? E flat, because we're going down. Neighbors, semitones, right? E flat, right? Now remember we don't have a black note between these two. They're already semitones, right? And let's look at this one. What would this one be? What would this one be called? G flat. You're right. Now that we know or the names of our notes, let's go through them quickly. All right. Now C, we're going through the sharps, right? And remember we use the sharp to raise the note. Before we look at the sharp, the natural sign here, we've done it. It's pretty easy. It's the note in its natural state, right? So the note is referring to the note in its natural state, right? So C here would be in its natural state. D would be in its natural state. Now when you're lowering D, would become a flat. When you're raising D, it will become a sharp. Hope we understand. Now let's move on to labeling each black note. So remember we have two names for each black note. Now we're gonna go through both names. So let's go through the sharps first, and remember which direction we're gonna go with the sharp. We're gonna go to the right. All right, let's go. Ready? C, C sharp, D, D sharp. We have the semitones here. F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, A sharp. Right? C, C sharp, and we're back to C sharp. And remember I tell you about the cycle, C, and it goes to C again, and it goes to another C again. So that's how it goes. Now we're already at C sharp, so we're already at C, so let's go down. Let's go to the flats, and we're gonna go which way now? We're gonna go to the left, right? Now we have semitones here, right? So we're gonna go to B. What would this black note here be? B flat. What would this one be? We're doing flats now. We're lowering the note by neighbors. So A flat, good. What would this one be? G flat. What about this one? We're lowering and we're doing neighbors, so this would be E flat, and then this one would be D flat. So we've done both names, right? And just to go over again, I wanted to pause the video and I wanted to draw your little keyboards, draw your keyboards or your pianos, draw them, and I wanted to label the notes. So I'm going to hold it still. Go ahead, pause it now, pause it, good. And you're going to draw the keyboard, you're going to label the notes, and you're going to fill in both names for these keys here. So we have C sharp and D flat, we have D sharp and E flat, we have F sharp and G flat, we have G sharp and A flat, we have A sharp and B flat. Alright, so draw your keyboard. Okay, good. So the next activity number 2, would be identifying from which note to which note gives you a semitone and a tone. Now let's look at it. From C, now that we know the names of the black notes, we're gonna use it, right? We're gonna use the names. Now from C to C sharp would be a what? And if you said tone, you're wrong. And if you said semitone, you're right, because they're neighbors, right? Now from D to E would be a what? We skipped a note. I hope you didn't forget that. So we skip a note, so then we're gonna label it as a what? A tone, right? So we skip a note, so it's a tone. Now from C sharp to D sharp, C sharp to D sharp, did we skip a note? I'm asking you, did we skip a note from C sharp to D sharp? Yes, we did. We skipped D. Now, skipping a note means that it's a what? Great, it's a tone you're learning. Now, from last one, from E, are we not going to say to this note because we know what the names of the notes are. Now, from E to F sharp, what would that be? A tone or a semitone? Good, you're ready to complete the class activity. From E to F sharp would be a tone. Now, time to complete the class activity. See you later.